roll into March without having a CBA negotiation done. Because if we roll into March, you can pretty much count the 2026 season over with, bro. Everything is going to be altered. Don't forget, Team USA got their basketball game scheduled in September, so the season is already going to be coming to an end, just like it did with the Olympics. It is just going to be a ugly, ugly stretch to get these ladies ready for the 2026 season. And us Caitlin Clark fans should be hella mad because we've been waiting since July to see Caitlin Clark play basketball. Now, for whatever
Sophie Cunningham has revealed crucial details regarding what lies ahead for women's professional basketball. The latest developments require attention as significant changes could impact the entire league structure. Current circumstances show zero movement forward regarding collective bargaining discussions. This situation has become increasingly difficult to monitor because preparations should already be underway for player movement season. Instead, activities remain frozen with no anticipated timeline for resolution. As time extends further into February without any agreement reached, concerns grow about approaching critical deadlines.
basketball. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know what they got going on, but they need to definitely figure it out. Now, Sophie Cunningham is somebody that is not, quiet at all. She always tell it like it is. Well, in a new episode, she pretty much sounds off on the current CBA negotiations and pretty much how everything is going. Now, this is an article that came out early this morning, kind of depicting everything Sophie Cunningham had to say. It's being reported that Sophie Cunningham sounds alarms with WNBA CBA negotiations.
A prediction suggests chaos will erupt if nothing gets resolved before entering the third month of the calendar year. Allowing matters to drift into March essentially means writing off the entire upcoming campaign. Every planned event will face disruption. Team USA has international competition scheduled for September, meaning the campaign would already be winding down, similar to what occurred during Olympic participation. This creates an extremely challenging timeline for getting athletes prepared for competitive action. Supporters who follow Caitlin Clark should feel particularly frustrated since July marked the last opportunity to watch her compete.
Sophie Cunningham sounds alarms with WNBA CBA negotiations. Sophie Cunningham's most recent WNBA CBA update is not what fans want to hear. You guys heard that. It is not what fans want to hear, but this is the reality of the damn situation we're dealing with the current WNBA. It said with every passing day, there becomes more and more urgency for the WNBA league office and its players association to come to terms on a new collective bargaining agreement. While the 2026
Despite unknown reasons behind current delays, resolution must happen quickly. Sophie Cunningham never holds back her opinions and consistently speaks directly about situations. During a Fresh podcast episode, she expressed strong views about ongoing labor discussions and how matters are progressing. A morning publication captured everything Cunningham shared during this conversation. Reports indicate Sophie Cunningham raises serious concerns about WNBA collective bargaining talks. Her latest statements regarding labor negotiations aren't encouraging for supporters hoping for positive developments.
bargaining agreement. While the 2026 WNBA regular season is still several months away, the offseason is running months behind. That's what I'm telling y'all. We supposed to be doing free agency right now, but we're still talking about this. And if we ain't at CBA negotiation, the expansion draft for the Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo likely would have taken place a month ago, guys. The lottery draft would have been a month ago, and teams will be gearing up for WNBA free agency now, which typically begins at the start of February.
Each day that passes increases pressure for league management and player representatives to finalize a fresh collective bargaining contract. Although regular season competition remains several months distant, activities that typically occur during the break are running significantly behind schedule. Discussions about player movement should be happening right now, yet conversations remain focused on unresolved labor matters. Additionally, if collective bargaining had concluded, the selection process for Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo expansion rosters likely would have occurred 30 days earlier. The lottery selection event would have already taken place, and organizations would be preparing for unrestricted player signing, which normally commences at February's beginning. Both parties remain deadlocked without progress.
Agency now, which typically begins at the start of February. Now, also, The two sides are still at a standstill. Front office Andy Kosovo provided an update on where negotiations stand in January, Article 16. Writing this, the WNBA and WBPA have reached a statement of how the league should share its revenue with players in a proposal submitted by the union around Christmas. Players were asking for 30% in gross.
Front office representative Annie Kosovo shared an update about negotiation status in a mid-January piece. The Professional Women's Basketball League and its Players Association have submitted proposals regarding how the organization should distribute earnings with athletes. A proposal presented by the union during the holiday season requested 30% of total revenue and approximately $10.5 million in maximum team spending. League officials haven't responded to that submission, though their previous offer from early December featured roughly 70% of profits after expenses and different spending limits. Sophie Cunningham's position on collective bargaining discussions signals warning signs. During a recent broadcast of her podcast Show Me Something, Cunningham shared these thoughts. Discussion turned to engagement announcements, with confusion about timing and celebrations.
We're asking for 30% in gross revenue and a salary cap of around $10.5 million. The league has yet to respond to that proposal, but its latest, which shared in early December, featured roughly 70% of the net revenue and salary cap. Now, Sophie Cunningham stance on the CBA negotiation is signs of red flag. So in a recent episode on her podcast, Show Me Something, this is what Sophie Cunningham had to say. Let's roll.
Who got engaged?
After clearing up misunderstandings about relationship milestones and birthday posts, conversation shifted to current basketball matters. Only 2 players attended recent workouts because most teammates are participating in alternative competition. Collective bargaining negotiations have deteriorated to such an extent that a work stoppage appears increasingly likely. When asked about advancement, the response was clear: absolutely nothing. Communication consists of routine messages from player association representatives, but substance remains absent. The entire circumstance was described repeatedly as foolish and frustrating.
This is what Sophie Cunningham had to say. Let's roll.
Who got engaged?
Lexi got engaged like before season of last year, like a month or 2 before season.
Oh, dude, it's her fiance's. It was her birthday. His birthday. That's so embarrassing. Oh my god! I wanted to bring like fever energy to the pod one day, and I just blew it.
There is like no, you dumbass. I was like, I did not know where you were going with that. But normally, like when you stop people.
This segment from Show Me Something podcast reveals Cunningham's candid assessment. The article continues analyzing her comments, emphasizing how she characterized the entire predicament as senseless and ridiculous. Possibilities exist that a complete work stoppage becomes reality if spring arrives without finalized labor terms. Sophie Cunningham appears convinced this outcome seems probable based on her podcast remarks. While Cunningham might be speculating, her statements definitely don't provide the reassurance supporters seek. Various individuals have voiced opinions about the league's current condition.
Normally, like when you stop people and stuff, then you see more and more of them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Maybe I was like,
no, it's a birthday post for her mans, and the second picture is like an engagement picture, and I was like, oh my god, engaged! That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Me and Sydney Colson were the only ones there this past week because
everyone's doing Unrivaled.
That and like our CBA is so dumb right now that like it's heading towards the lockout. So
no progress.
No,
like just nothing.
Honestly.
Many commentators have attracted significant attention with their perspectives, and circumstances appear increasingly concerning for the organization. This timing creates particular problems because Caitlin Clark's signature footwear is scheduled for release during upcoming months. Questions arise whether this disruption might impact her product sales with Nike as the overall situation grows increasingly messy. Certainty exists that athletes will receive greater compensation compared to previous contracts, but disagreements center on how earnings get distributed between the organization and players. Hopes remain that more encouraging information emerges relatively soon because prospects of a complete work stoppage aren't what supporters anticipated hearing. Unfortunately, this reflects actual circumstances, and everyone continues waiting patiently for Caitlin Clark to return for competition after missing an extended period away from the court.
I'm pretty sure it is the this is the Katie This is literally the KD6s. It's the PS. This is the looks like the PSG KD6s. I think that might be this. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But I think it kind of looks like the PSG KD6s. It looks exactly like it. That being said, I don't think it means anything. I think it's just a placeholder shoe. There could be another Nike sneaker that
For those who follow Caitlin Clark closely, this represents unprecedented territory without any prior experience navigating such situations. Project B has scheduled its launch for November as well. Questions emerge whether Project B might adjust their starting date because of these developments. This creates interesting possibilities because if the Professional Women's League actually implements a work stoppage beginning in November, players might choose to abandon the established league and participate in Project B simply to resume playing competitive basketball. Caitlin Clark has stated she won't participate in Project B.
I think it's just a placeholder shoe. There could be another Nike sneaker that I don't know of that this looks like. It could be a running spike because you better believe these aren't Caitlin Clark signature sneakers. And they're not releasing a Caitlin Clark lifestyle shoe at the same time. If they did that, then you would know Nike's just fucked. Like if Nike were literally out there releasing Caitlin Clark lifestyle sneakers alongside her signature sneaker, it's basically like Nike waving a flag saying we are actually fucked. We are actually fucked. But
however, circumstances could potentially alter that decision as situations evolve significantly. These developments present serious challenges for the upcoming season and everyone involved with professional women's basketball. Recent social media activity from Nike has sparked speculation about Caitlin Clark's potential signature sneaker. Multiple images have surfaced showing the brand plastering Clark's logo across various products, leading some to wonder if an official shoe reveal might be imminent. One particular photo caught attention, appearing to show what could potentially be Clark's signature footwear.
we're actually fucked. We are actually fucked. But look, at the end of the day, looking at some of the responses, can't wait though. Almost certainly not. But why would you? If it was, why would you post this? I mean, Nike are posting it everywhere. Like, it's just a placeholder shoe. Looks like golf shoes. Like that. Realistically, it is just a placeholder sneaker. But I still think there's a lot to be said for how Nike are really pushing Caitlin Clark.
However, closer examination suggests otherwise. The sneaker in question bears striking resemblance to the KD6 model, specifically what appears to be the PSG colorway. The heel design and overall silhouette match almost perfectly with Kevin Durant's sixth signature shoe from that Paris Saint-Germain collaboration. There's about an 80% certainty this is indeed the KD6. Some have suggested it might even be a running spike, though the visual similarities to Durant's classic model are too strong to ignore.
How Nike are really pushing Caitlin Clark right now, and I still fully believe that a big reason why Caitlin Clark there was no pushing and it took so long to get the logo is that Nike didn't want to piss off AJ Wilson. I still think there's logic to that. I genuinely do. Like, I think there is logic to that, and I do believe that they just didn't want to piss off AJ. And that would kind of make sense if, AJ is a signature athlete and you don't necessarily, why would you want to piss off your signature athletes?
If Nike were actually reviving the KD6 design for Clark, that wouldn't necessarily be unwelcome news. Unplated very one, those shoes had significant popularity during their original run. The reality, though, points toward this being nothing more than a placeholder sneaker. Nike likely grabbed whatever footwear was readily available for the promotional imagery. The brand isn't about to drop a lifestyle shoe and performance basketball sneaker simultaneously for Clark. Doing so would signal complete chaos in their product strategy. Releasing both categories at once would essentially broadcast organizational dysfunction.
Why would you want to piss off your signature athletes? That's not even like a shot at AJ. Like, if you're Nike, why would you want to, piss off the people that are bringing in money, or at least you're trying to get to bring in money? But you're seeing it now with Nike. Something's off. Like, is that like just an off-white thing there? Caitlin Clark golf balls. Like, there's an off-white tick there. Maybe imagine if Caitlin Clark. She's talking about brand collabs.
Various responses to the images have ranged from excitement to skepticism. Most reasonable observers recognize this as simply temporary product placement rather than an actual leak. Some commenters noted the shoes resemble golf footwear, which further supports the placeholder theory. Different sneakers appear throughout the promotional materials, including what looks like 3 distinct models in a single image, suggesting Nike simply used whatever inventory was accessible. The real story here involves Nike's aggressive current push for Caitlin Clark across their marketing channels.
Imagine if Caitlin Clark, she's talking about brand collabs. Imagine if they brought back the off-white basketball shoe, like from the Hyper Dunks back in the day, which are, I remember back in the day, like, they were so hyped. They were so hyped. And they're like $700 or $1,500 on StockX. I was gonna buy a pair for like $300 back when they first came out, and it was like my
This represents a notable shift from earlier in the year when
Why is there one for 450 on? Why is there one in my size on StockX for 450 when all the other ones are 1,500 plus? No, Mick, do not. Under no circumstances are you to buy off-white Hyperdunks right now, even to flip them for a profit. Either way, look, it would be a cool thing if suddenly there was, again, the off-white Caitlin Clarks, or if these were Caitlin Clark shoes. I just don't think they are.
the timing of Nike's current Clark marketing blitz, coming after months of relative silence, seems to support this theory. Among the promotional materials are Caitlin Clark branded golf balls, including what appears to be some off-white aesthetic elements. This raised speculation about potential brand collaborations. An off-white basketball shoe collaboration would certainly generate massive buzz, particularly if it recalled the hyped Hyperdunk models from years past. Those original off-white basketball sneakers commanded prices ranging from $700 to $1,500 on resale markets, with some pairs initially available around $300 at retail.
I just don't think they are. I think they just put in shoes. Like, even at the bottom of this picture. Like, they are very different shoes. I think they just found whatever shoes were lying around. I genuinely think they did. And I think there's going to be a lot of intrigue around the Caitlin Clark sneaker, because it's probably, as I said, they wouldn't. The black ones are new Nike mine, so the other is probably a random shoe. Yeah, it's almost certainly a random.
Currently, certain sizes of those original off-white basketball shoes can be found for around $450 on StockX, while others remain priced above $1,500, showing the inconsistent pricing in the resale market. However, purchasing vintage off-white sneakers at this point would be questionable, even for potential resale profit. Whether these images actually show Clark's signature shoe remains highly doubtful. The evidence strongly suggests Nike simply inserted random footwear into promotional mock-ups. The sneakers shown appear too varied, and the lacing pattern seems too minimal for proper basketball performance footwear.